Hello, it's
Hello.
us from Knit Camera Action.
We've made it back, and we're doing things.
Here we are,
Maybe
on the
I don't
couch.
know.
We're here,
We were here.
and that is
Yep.
plenty for today. Actually,
Yes.
as I was leaving, my husband told me to have fun at the Nirvana concert today because of the.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, fair
Yeah.
enough. I was like,
Yeah.
I make no
You're-
claims to be
you're
as
not
cool as
Nirvana?
Nirvana. I'm not Nirvana. No.
Well, I've got to go, so
Yeah.
I'm in the wrong place now.
I mean, we have a guitar, but it's acoustic.
All my ukuleles are at home,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah, we've got some trumpets, but Nirvana doesn't use trumpets.
No, we could be Scott.
We've got Klaus, but he really only hits that one note.
Yeah, he's hitting it quite a bit actually.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
So that's around.
I brought some stuff
Ah,
today.
cool.
It's broken socks.
Nice.
From the Broken Sock Land.
Yep.
So like I knit socks as we've discussed previously.
Yes.
Previously on Knit Camera Action.
Indeed.
I made socks in my
Mhm.
lifetime. And so after you wear them a bit, sometimes they get holes.
Yeah.
And I've got two pairs where there's some holes going on. I think it's just one from each sock, but I brought the matching one.
Yeah.
Sometimes I need
You
help
gotta kinda
determining
keep
the
pairs
skeleton
together.
Yeah, that's the other part.
Yeah,
If I
you don't
separate
wanna,
them,
like-
it's over. So
No, then it's off to like Gnome Dryer Land or
yes.
Save Pod's second owned ballpoint pen store. Secondhand ballpoint pen store.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Okay. So, anyway, I brought these along to work on today.
Nice.
Figure out how to fix them and
Yeah.
fix them.
I have a darning egg, if that is helpful.
Maybe, yeah.
Although it looks like one of your socks like has a hole in the middle of the sole of the foot.
It does.
Which I have to say that's just not where my socks wear out.
Yeah, no. So, part of the issue, I think, is the way the foot was constructed.
Sure. Oh yeah, because it's like right
this
on.
pattern has the decreases, or not decreases, but
Whatever's
anyway, it's the foot
the shaping.
where there's really, anyway, it like the stitches come like a fountain out of the middle all the way down the sole of the foot, and that's where the hole is. So it's gonna make things interesting there.
Yeah.
And then now, wait till you see where the hole is on these.
Are
So
those the skew?
these are skews.
Okay.
They were my first and only skews. I
Yeah.
like them quite a bit. But I've got a hole in this one right on the side of the leg.
I feel like a cat might have been involved.
Yeah, it could have been.
That's just such an interesting place for
Yeah.
wear.
Yeah, I don't know.
I choose to blame a cat.
So not only is it in a weird spot, behold, but also like there's a couple other spots where there's some wear on the sole.
Oh yeah, there's like
and
some
a
thinning.
couple other spots where there's
Mhm.
some thinning. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I may need to take a very close look at these and determine.
Maybe if it's time for another pair of skew.
Right. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I rather like these though.
The colors are really nice.
They really are. And they look so obnoxious in the skein, which is something I truly love. But also they came out lovely in the sock
Yeah.
and not really obnoxious.
No.
It was like I feel like it was like one of the major sock brands, like German sock yarn type
Oh,
brands.
sure. Like
They were doing
the
like
Opal or
an
Regia or
right.
something.
I think it was one of those, but I don't remember which one.
Right.
And they did these like themes, and this one was based on the flag of Brazil.
I mean, yeah, and you
almost-
say that, I see it.
It's almost like going to Brazil.
It's almost like going to Brazil, which I mean,
Yes.
you know, right now in December in upstate New York, I am all for.
Yeah.
But
That sounds all right.
it sounds
Yeah.
okay. I'm pretty good with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my little project for today.
That's your
is,
project.
Fixing those guys up.
Yeah.
If your dog will let me, we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
I actually do have some mending to do myself. This is an old sweater, and by old sweater I mean I made it, I don't know, 5-6 years ago.
Mm.
And then the cat got a hold of it. But before that happened, the cat, he actually did. But before that happened, I had done like, I guess some sort of sewn bind off on the cuff, and I was at a store and like reaching to hand my payment, and I noticed that in the bind off itself, that is where my yarn had broken. I mean, 4 or 5 years after I finished it.
Yeah.
But then, like any, normal crafting person, I very quickly handed the cashier my credit card, jumped into my purse, pulled out a stitch marker, grabbed my 3 live stitches, and then was like, yep, this is a totally normal transaction at this place.
Everything's normal.
And everything is normal, and it's fine. And they'll take my credit card back.
Was it a yarn store?
No, it was a bookstore.
Okay.
I mean,
all right.
Could have been worse.
Yeah.
But no, it wasn't. It wasn't a yarn store. And then also when I had originally made this, just the buttons that were available at the time, the only good buttons that I could find thematically that like seemed to go with it were like painted plastic. And over the years, the plastic just faded and they weren't great. So I had actually purchased some new, I think they're just like leather wrapped buttons. So I have some new buttons for it, so I might also get around to putting some buttons on this.
Nice.
But we'll see how that goes. So yeah, I have to fix that sewn bind off and then put on some buttons and then try and get all the cat hair out of this, because as this was waiting for me to mend it for a year, my cat really decided he liked this yarn.
He was very,
which is fair,
things, so
because yeah, it's Cascade Livorno or something, and it's got alpaca in there.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Something about cats and alpaca.
Cats and alpaca. Well, Klaus also really likes alpaca, although
Okay.
he likes to steal and chew alpaca.
Oh. All right.
Yeah. Klaus has a thing about going after alpaca items.
My cats had zero interest in yarn.
Yeah.
Until we took a weekend trip, like a long weekend trip.
Yeah.
And we get back, and they had taken some sock yarn, like some self-striping sock yarn, and like mutilated isn't really the right word,
right?
But
they had some fun with it while you guys were gone.
They did, and they took it for a ride around the house, like and ever since then they've been like, hey, is that a ball of yarn? I'm gonna take that.
I'm gonna take that. That's pretty
or
cool.
my favorite is, hey mom, I caught something. Yell, 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 yell. It's 2 a.m. Thank you so much for bringing me a ball of yarn. I appreciate you. Good kitty. Like,
but I caught it just for you.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yes. And I'm very proud.
Yeah. I mean, my cats have always really liked when I wind cakes. That is very interesting for them.
There's a lot of movement.
There's a lot of movement, and it's all fairly regular, but still not entirely regular. There's consistent movement, but it's not exactly predictable. So it's very interesting.
Sometimes the tail hangs down.
Right?
Whoa.
Oh, it's crazy. So there's
cats.
that.
So.
Otherwise, the cats are not too interested. Klaus got into a skein of yarn when he was a puppy, and he didn't hurt it, but it did take 6 hours to untangle it.
Oh.
It was still tied. Like, the skein still had the ties in it.
Oh.
And I don't know what he did.
Everything.
He did everything. It took 6 hours to get that untangled. And then he really never bothered yarn again until, like, within the last year. He's like, alpaca. I will take all the alpaca. Thank you very much. Very interested in alpaca. So, we'll see. But then, yeah, I have to figure out how to get all the cat hair out of this. But we'll worry about
I like lint
finishing
rollers.
that seam. Yeah, lint roller.
You're going to go through a couple
lots.
little sticky sheets.
Yeah, we do have some of those. We also have one that is like, it's the wrong direction of a fabric.
Like an upholstery type thing?
Yeah, we have one of those.
Yeah, I like those too.
And that might work, especially given the volume that I have here. But we'll work on getting the cuff done first.
You know how many project bags I have?
So
many.
87.
And yet, here I am.
I have a Ziploc bag.
Yeah.
I
probably have 25.
25. Okay,
Various
that's less
sizes.
than 87.
But, and there are plenty of them that are empty.
Sure. But you know what fun is that?
Yeah.
What fun is that?
Yeah. It's because I wound the yarn for this and wanted it immediately into a bag together.
Right.
So that it was together. And here we are. Yeah. So this is Cowltopus.
Yes.
It's the mystery knit along. It's no longer a mystery, but it's still a knit along somehow. And that's okay. And yeah, I'm working on it, and it's coming along nicely.
Oh, you're on like the last clue, the last section.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Clue 4.
We're bad at this, but
so bad
at podcasting and things. The person who did it, I want to say her first name is Leslie. She recently put out. You sent me
Lara Nelkin.
Laura. Okay, there we go.
Yes.
Laura. It was an L. I'm sorry. Again, we're bad. But she recently put out the thing on Instagram showing the way that you can like. So it's a hood that has like the long cowl kind of thing, and you can fold the cowl up into the hood. It's so good that way. It's so nice. It was 11 degrees here the other day, and it was so nice.
Well, I think
to have it folded up like that.
From New York somewhere, so like she gets it.
I think so, because I feel like she's mentioned the Finger Lakes.
Yeah. It's brioche though.
Yes.
This part. Although the pattern does give you the choice to just do ribbing.
Yeah.
So like you've got options, but
yeah, she's got a lot of good options. There's I think like 4 different ways you can do the cowl.
Yeah, and I really liked the way that Rebecca's came out, so I thought, all right, I'll do the brioche. I'm gonna do it. So here we are, brioching away.
It's good, and I have the title of which is in French.
Oh.
So I don't remember all of the words.
Les French sweater.
Les French sweater.
Okay.
So that's what I'm working on. It is. It's basically it's tricky because it is a free pattern, which is nice. It is a yoked.
Is that hand spun?
Cardigan. Yes, it is hand spun. It's a
yoked
cardigan.
I'm gonna figure this out. Ah!
There we go.
Pretty.
There's that.
Yes.
That I got the fiber at Southern Adirondack one year, but I don't remember who I got it from. And then the other one is this, that is just dyed yarn.
Where?
From the people.
The people.
The people. You know when you go to Southern Adirondack and they have the booth and you go in and there's the lady and the man. And I also got this from them.
Oh!
And
heirlooms.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
They have the
like
sweaters.
The lady and the man with the yarn.
With the yarn at the place.
Festival.
Gosh, come on, Stephanie.
Heirlooms.
Heirlooms, yes. So I got that from them.
Lovely people.
So nice.
Lovely yarn.
Yes.
Fantastic. Never had a complaint. It is gorgeous. She does the dyeing and it's superb.
Yes. But yeah, so putting these together, it's gonna be good. But the sweater, yeah, it's interesting because it is a free pattern, and it's a free pattern because it is in one size. So basically, the designer is like, "Hey, I'm gonna knit myself a sweater. Here are the notes. If you happen to be the same size as me,
cool.
You can also make it. I happen to be the same size, so I can make it." But yeah.
Okay.
So that's what's going on. I mean, it seems to be a good sweater pattern so far in the whole inch that I've done.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, looking at the rest of it.
The colors look nice.
It seems like it's going to be a perfectly reasonable pattern. It's just also the one size, but it's also free.
So you're working on the collar?
I mean, this is the collar. The collar is done, and now I've started the stripes. It's a very, very small collar, yeah.
Okay. And of course you made your sweater.
I made this, yes. This is Ease by, I want to say, Alicia. And it's made out of like a chainette blown yarn. And it's so fuzzy and so soft that my child tried to steal it. And so now I'm working on a second one for the child. But I'm at a spot where I have to like count and check things. So not working on that right now.
And I just want to point out that the other one is also in a dark color, so you must like her.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, it was my
Yeah,
kid,
well,
so.
yeah. But still.
Yeah.
like,
I mean, this one wasn't so bad. This one is, you know, black, and then the chainette is, like, colors in the chainette, but then everything that's
Okay.
blown in is black.
okay.
And the other one, it's, like, white chainette all the way through, and then everything blown in is black. So it's kind of speckly. This colorway is soot. It's loops and threads, heathered tweed. And so it's a very, very simple pattern, which also helps. And it's knit on size 10s, which also helps. But yeah, there's enough that you can see enough of the details with the chainette that it's not just, oh my gosh, I'm knitting a black sweater.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
And it's a pretty simple pattern. I have,
Nice.
as you can see, a lot of stitch markers on there to like count rows for me.
Yeah.
So that also helps.
Also, it's extra small?
It's an extra small, yeah.
Yeah.
But as far as like having to read my work, I'm not reading the yarn, I'm reading stitch markers. That's the things.
I've started to think about what I'm going to knit next after I'm done with
after you're done with Cowltopus.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know.
You don't know?
No,
Oh.
I don't know. Which means I'm going to have to pick up a whip for a little while
Ooh, think
to
about
like
it.
think of the next big thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you have thoughts for like next year? Because it is kind of that time of year that people are thinking about like ideas for the next time.
Well,
the next year.
I do
what else
have
is happening?
one exciting thing
Mhm.
is that for these many years, I have been attempting to have more yarn out than in.
Yay!
And this year,
You
it's
did that.
happening.
Hooray!
It's happening. Yeah. Like, assuming that I stay out of the yarn stores for the next couple of days,
Yeah.
I don't do anything rash.
Right. Bless you.
Thank you. I said rash, so I had to sneeze.
Yeah, obviously.
So, yeah, I'm gonna do it.
Yay!
So it's actually a net stash reduction this year. Pretty
Nice.
exciting.
Nice.
And I would like to keep that energy flowing in 2025.
That's fair.
Interesting. I really, honestly, only just thought of this, but here's an interesting fact. When I first decided to catalog my stash and kind of figure out like how much yarn do I have, and like, well, if I stopped buying yarn today, how long would that last me? It came out to be this coming year, 2025, is when I would run out of yarn if I was going at that rate and had not purchased
any more yarn at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
Which was like 2010
Okay.
or 2011.
Right.
And I remember thinking, wow, that's really
so
far away.
Long from
It's like it's a million billion years from now. Okay. But it's also the year that my older child graduates from high school.
Yeah.
So that's what stuck in my head. And then I just talking about the stash. So I didn't stop buying yarn. And also my productivity has changed a bit over the years in different directions as well. Yeah. So let's just say I'm not going to run out of yarn this year.
No. You're good.
I'm good.
You're good.
Yeah. So now that I have officially reached 2024, the year of more out than in.
Yes.
That's exciting.
It is. Yeah.
It's a nice little boost.
Yeah. That's what I'm hoping to do next year also, is more out than in.
Okay.
Because for this year, one of the things that I really wanted to try to do was to use 15 pounds, which was a fairly arbitrary amount. And I just say use because, like, between the knitting and the spinning and the things, it's like, whatever. I used it.
It doesn't go away.
It doesn't go away. Like, oh, look,
form.
I now have new yarn, but less fiber.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I did get 15 pounds. I got through 15 pounds, I think, actually at the end of October.
Nice.
And then have continued to, knit whole sweaters. But we don't need to talk about how much I bought. That was also a thing, and it was more than 15 pounds. So that was a thing. But then I was looking at all of my stash, and the new sweater for the child, turns out is my 11th sweater of the year. Which, that's like a whole thing. But as I was looking at it, I realized that I bought new yarn specifically for 7 of those sweaters.
Okay.
So, like, I bought the yarn, I started the sweater. I bought the yarn, I started the sweater. I only used stash yarn on 3 of them.
And finished them.
The
sweaters.
But, like, still.
Let's not skip that part, because that's the part that I
finished them.
So.
I gave away several of them. I want to say 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. But then in order, and I'm like, I did buy a lot of yarn this year, and I've been using it. Made some sweaters, gave sweaters away, all that kind of thing. I've been using it. I made this sweater. I've got that sweater. But at the same time, like, yeah, I do want to do more out than in. So I found this thing. I heard about this thing from Jen of Stashdown Diaries. And she is doing this thing called 12 Days of Cast-ons, which is actually by Angela of YarnNYarns. Everything will be linked below. But what they're doing, I guess Angela has like a whole like cast-on along thing for their dates and things like that. I'll have the video linked where she explains everything. And there's like a hashtag and it's a competition and all that kind of stuff. So she's got like a whole thing.
You said competition.
I did.
Oh.
Well, I don't know if it's a competition as much as random drawing at the end if you do it.
Okay.
So not so much a competition as much as, yay, we did the thing together. It's not like the person who casts on the most wins or anything like that.
Okay.
But I am the type of person, and I know myself well enough now, that if I cast something on, it will get finished. With few exceptions, I don't have a lot of, like, lingering whips other than the pie scarf. But again, in my defense, pie doesn't end, so the sweater can never be finished, or the scarf can never be finished.
That's true.
So therefore, I don't have to finish it. I just can keep telling myself that, and it's fine. But anyway, so I'm kind of doing that. That's where this sweater comes in, because as you can see, I've done so much on it. But this was my Christmas Eve cast on. And then I've also cast on the Librarian vest by Skeindeer Knits.
Okay.
I
do like Skeindeer Knits.
I do like Skeindeer Knits. She is so cute. And she has a new puppy now.
Oh.
And by a new puppy now, I mean the puppy is like 7 or 8 months old.
Oh, okay.
So it's not just like a sleepy puppy, which sleepy puppies are cute, but now it's like she's getting into stuff and like being a puppy, and it's really cute. Because Skeindeer has like a whole Vlogmas series and stuff where she does things with her puppy, because you can't not do things with your 8-month-old puppy. Nope. But anyway, yes, I'm doing the Librarian vest by Skeindeer Knits, and then I've got like a few other things that I have planned to cast on. I believe the official cast on along thing, whatever, goes until the 31st of January. I'm gonna do mine until the 6th of January because that's when I have to go back to work. But, yeah, that's when I have to go back to work. It'll be definitely 2025 by then, all that kind of stuff. But, yeah.
Okay.
So, casting on a bunch of stuff, and at some point, hopefully, it'll get finished, and, yeah.
Maybe I should
That's the vibe.
Cast on the stuff I've already cast on.
Yeah, I was debating whether or not I could... Like, I should, like, really commit to finishing some of my whips, like, mostly my blanket whips. And I was looking through them, and, like, we can do an update, but the double knitting blanket is not getting done. Because, like, I need so many, I need 30 blocks.
Yeah, you need material.
Yeah, I just need blocks.
Sense.
It's not going to get done. So that's fine. That's not being counted. The Beekeepers Quilt is not going to get done. Because, again, I just need so many hexagons.
Right.
There's the Northeasterly here, which I'm on my 3rd row, but if I really only do 20 projects, I could maybe finish the Northeasterly and like really use up all my scraps. That's not true. I lied because I have another plan. Cause what's the other thing that I knit other than sweaters?
More sweaters.
Well, and socks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this last year in 2024, it turns out I knit 25 pairs of socks.
And 11 sweaters.
11 sweaters.
I'm not worthy.
And a couple blankets.
Oh my gosh. And I'm sitting here trying to like quietly check my pattern.
You do so much more job than I do, Stephanie.
I do.
You do so much more job.
I do.
And that's fine.
It's
and
fine. But your
job requires a lot more.
What do I knit next on this thing? Like trying to like I don't even know. I'm just I'm gonna wait because it's brioche. If it was regular knitting, I would not wait. But
chill.
Brioche, no.
All right. So the plan for next year is to clearly pet Klaus more.
Yes.
But then also go through this book, which has 17 patterns.
Okay.
And it's sock architecture. So a large portion of these socks are fairly vanilla because the whole idea of this book is here's a bunch of toe and heel and construction techniques.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily about the design of the sock, it's about the construction. And they have, I don't want to be too nerdy here, but I mean, they wrote it, so if I'm reading it, it's not my fault that there's math involved. 17 top-down toes, 68 top-down heels, 17 toe-up toes, and 26 toe-up heels.
How is that 17 patterns?
Because they don't do all of them.
They just give you
options. You a bunch. There's like a whole chapter of just, here's some heels. There's a whole chapter, here's the chapter on top-down heels. Here's the chapter on toe-up heels. And then here's 17 where we've actually put it together in a pattern.
Huh. Okay.
I'm not going to do all of the heels. I'm not just going to end up with heels.
68 heels?
No.
No?
No, I'm not doing
that. You don't have little gnome hats? No?
No. Right. Many, many moons ago, I did have a book that's like, we're going to make nose warmers. And they are just short row heels or toes or whatever. And then they put a string around it and you tie it around your nose. And I never made any, but that's a thing. And we'll see if those come back. Because the balaclavas are really big. So maybe the nose warmers are going to come back. Anyway, so it says, at a minimum, before adding any variation to stitch pattern or color, a knitter could make 1,156 unique socks from top down and 442 unique socks from toe up using this book. Now again, not going to do that. I'm going to stick with the 17 patterns that are given. But this is the plan for next year for socks. That said, the combinatorics aside, we did have an interesting discussion the other day because I made some tiny stocking ornaments this year. Yeah. And it was basically, they're so cute.
Yeah. And a pickle.
And a pickle, yeah. The pickle, I just freehanded, basically a tube because it's pickle. You make a green tube and it's a pickle. But the stocking ornaments, it was 24 stitches and then it was just knit a sock. And I was like, okay, well, it's 24 stitches. And then I have 5 rows of cuff instead of 15. And I've got 20 rows of leg instead of 60. And then I've got 5 slip stitches on my heel instead of 15. And then I've got 20 rows of foot instead of 60 for the foot. And then I've got 2 decreases on the toe. And this one sock takes me about an hour. But all of those numbers seem to be a third of what I would do for a real sock. So how long does it take me to do a real sock? And so because I'm weird and, also teach math, I'm going to track that this year and figure out. My current guess is that it is a factor of 9. Okay. So, yeah. A single vanilla sock would just take me about 9 hours. That's my current guess, but we'll time things because, again, most of those are fairly vanilla socks because it's about construction. But those are the plans.
And that sounds like an adequate sample size too,
right?
To really
get,
like,
to actually like figure it out.
Yeah.
Now some of them, they do have like patterns. There's a couple that are like lace, and there's a couple, and you know, obviously if I'm doing a new heel, that is going to take a little bit longer.
Okay.
But
all right.
Yeah.
Nice. You'll finally have an answer to the age-old question.
I know.
How long did this take you?
How long did this take you?
Because I gave a pair of socks for Christmas this year.
Okay.
And the recipient was like, "How long did this take you?" And I was like,
I
don't know.
17 weeks.
Started them and
knit,
then...
like, I don't some of it?
I don't know. There's no telling. I know when I finished them.
Yeah.
I don't remember when I started them.
No.
And I definitely did not monogamously knit on them nonstop until they were done. So,
my favorite "how long did this take you" experiment that I've done was not this year, but the year before. I knit a vanilla stockinette in the round sweater while reading a book. And it was, which one am I going to finish first?
That was fun.
And the answer turned out, I'm pretty sure, to be the sweater.
Yeah, it was.
It was the sweater.
Yeah.
To be fair, the book was like actually a trilogy that was in one. It was like a bound up trilogy.
It was a very large.
It's a very large.
Oh,
it's this one book, actually.
Yeah.
It's the Inheritance trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. Yeah. This took me longer to read than knitting the Arco Iris sweater by Locatelli. So there you go. In case no one needed that information, now you have it. Yep.
I actually just started a large book, and it's a Kindle book, so I actually don't know how large it is, but I know it's large because it's a Sarah
J. Maas.
Yes.
Sarah J.
I
Maas.
remember
Sorry.
the middle initial. I was like, is it a K? Is it a J? It's a J.
It's a J.
It's a Sarah J. Maas book.
Sarah J. Maas.
It's not Akatar. It's
it's
a Throne of Glass. Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm in like chapter 2, so like, you know, not even 1% in probably.
I don't know.
Yeah. We'll see. See how it goes. I figured I'd give it a try. Everyone's like totally in love with these books. Have you read it?
I have not read Throne of Glass. I have heard things about Throne of Glass. I read Klaus. I read Agatar, and I read the second one, which I think is A Court of Mist and Fury. And then I got halfway through the third one, and I was like, I just don't care. I just don't care.
I've heard people say that like
anymore.
They love, you know, A Court of Thorn and Roses, but what really like killed them was the second book. That's the one that sucked them in
and
for
I've
life.
heard,
and you went the opposite direction there. You're just like,
I mean,
okay.
I read A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I was like, well, that happened. And then I started the second one, and I was like, okay, I guess. And then I read the third one, and I was like, no, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm done. I can't anymore.
The thing that does bring me a
a
tiny, whatever the opposite of a speck of joy is, is that I'm not going to meet my book reading goal for the year.
No.
I know. I'm like, well, obviously I should change the goal. But then I was like, no, there's no court here. Like, no one's going to take me to book court for not reading all my books.
No.
Like, I didn't make the goal, and that's okay.
Yep.
I had a goal of 30 books for the year, and I'm at 24.
That's really close, though.
It's pretty good, and I don't feel bad about it. I read lots of interesting books this year.
I mean, if we want to, like, make a grade out of that, that's still definitely passing. Like, you passed your goal. You didn't get 100, but, like, you passed.
Yeah.
It's not like you read 4 books.
Right, yeah.
You know?
That's fair. Okay.
I'm just telling you. Just, like, audiobook speed.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's how I read most of my books this year, was audiobooks.
Oh, yeah. For sure. That's how I read most of my books all the time.
Yeah. But a lot of my audiobook mileage is my commute to work. which is,
yeah, okay.
You know, on a rough day, 15 minutes.
Yeah, you don't have a super long commute.
I do not. But, like, I had a book I really wanted to finish the other day.
Sure.
So I put in headphones and I worked on it. Like, that's what I'm hearing in my head as I work on this now. Because I did, like, most of the brioche for the last part of the book. So, you ever do that where you're like, oh, yeah, I definitely remember watching this show while I was doing this.
There's, so I was going to somebody's house this one time, and the very first time I went to their house, I was listening to a particular book, and it was this one particular part, and now anytime I'm even in that area of town, I hear that section of the book. There was a kitten auction.
In the book?
In the book.
They were auctioning kittens?
From, like, the Humane Society. The Humane Society, they were doing, like, a week-long, yay, let's all adopt animals kind of a thing. And they were doing a kitten auction.
I was on Threads, you know, the Instagram, not Twitter.
Not Twitter.
And there was somebody that was like, oh, I'm fostering these cats and aren't they cute? And somebody else was like, yeah, I've got 4 of my own and 7 kittens. And there was a video. I know. And I was watching the video, and my husband's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm watching all the kittens. They're so cute. They were playing in a tunnel.
They were playing in a tunnel?
Yes. I know. It was really cute.
Yeah.
I need 7 kittens.
You don't?
I don't. I need to look at videos of 7 kittens.
Yes. Or I get a friend
that live
who
at someone
has 7
else's
kittens.
house. Somebody else's 7 kittens. I need videos. Thank you.
That's what I tell my husband, because I grew up with horses out in Wyoming, and my husband every now and then he's like, do you want horses? And I'm like, no, I do not. I do not need to have horses.
You can't even have
not
chickens.
need to wake up. Well, you know, it goes along with like moving and blah blah blah, that kind of stuff. It's like, I do not need to wake up any earlier than I need to. I do not need to go outside in New York winters and break the ice on the horse trough and like have to leave the house to like go to the stables to like feed the horse and like I don't need to do that.
There's places you can visit horses.
There's places you can visit horses, and that is enough horse for me. I did that. Okay. I get it. I'm good with the horses. I like horses. They're nice.
Yeah.
The ones that have brown noses, very, very fuzzy. Black noses, not as fuzzy, but brown noses, it's like velvet.
Horse trivia.
Horse trivia, yeah. But I don't need to do the work that goes in with horses. I'm more than happy to let someone else do that and then visit. Anyway, so you should check your pattern, or we should do some mending.
I'm gonna check my pattern.
Check your pattern. All right, cool.
While I still have the brain intact.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, check the pattern. Get started on the next row.
Yeah.
So that I remember where I am, and then I can work on my mending.